Hi everyone, let's talk about posture at the piano keyboard. My name is Jason Paul Peterson and I'm the founder of PetersonPianoAcademy.com, a comprehensive piano academy and course that will take you all the way from your first notes through advanced pieces and techniques. And today we're going to look at piano posture. What is the proper way to hold your hands and your body at the piano? This can make a big difference in your technique later on. It can make a big difference in how you produce and how effectively you produce sounds at the piano and whether or not you get tired when you play. So these are some important things to keep in mind. Let's start with the hands themselves. When you put your hands on the piano keyboard, you want to make sure that the fingers are curved, but not overly so. You don't have to overdo it and really clench your fingers together. A good way to see what a good starting position for the hand is to just let your arm hang down at your side. You can't see it here, but like this. If you look at that sort of shape of my hand, when I completely relax my fingers, as I lift my arm up onto the piano keyboard, that's the position which will allow me to essentially keep my fingers as relaxed as possible when playing. So it's not completely flat, it's not completely rounded, very strongly rounded either, but I need to have enough space underneath my fingers so that when we later start doing this thumb under motion, that the thumb has room to go. So you'll see if my fingers are too flat at the piano, I can't push my thumb under. The thumb has no place to go. That's why it's important to keep the fingers a little more rounded. Also, just so that the energy transfers really directly into the key when you play it. Now, another thing that's important to keep in mind is that you want to see that your arms and your hand, the top of your hand, are essentially in one line. You don't want to play like this. You don't want to play like this. You'll see people doing this, of course, but it's bad technique for reasons that are a bit too complicated to go into now. But the most efficient way to play is really to make sure that this is in one line. And when you're holding your arms at the piano keyboard, you want to be sure as well that they're not, that you don't have a downward angle or a very strong upward angle. Here I have a slight downward angle, which is okay, but you don't want it to be, you don't want your arms to be like this or like this. You want a relatively straight arm, which you can change, of course, by adjusting the piano bench. So that's something to keep in mind. You want to be sure when you're playing that you have a very straight back. You don't want to be leaning back, or what more people do is leaning forward like this, sort of hunched over the keys. Now, I'm sure somebody's going to say to me, yeah, but I saw so-and-so play, the famous pianist, and they did this. And it's true. You can find examples of all sorts of things. If you look at Glenn Gould or Rubinstein or Horowitz, they all have very different ways of sitting at the piano. But remember, these are professionals with decades of experience. And after you've played for that long, you might decide to start to tweak things to your own intentions a bit. But this is for basically every starting pianist, the place where you want to begin. Keep a straight back. It will allow you to stay relaxed and to not have to expend a lot of extraneous energy holding your body upright in this position or like this. One other thing to discuss is the distance from the piano. What is the proper distance to sit from the piano? Well, let's look at what happens if we sit too close or too far away. The danger of sitting too close at the piano is a couple things. First of all, when I sit very close like this, it's a lot harder for me to, say, move my left hand up or my right hand down because my body gets in the way. So I want to be far enough back that my arms can move freely here. Another danger of sitting too close is when you start to use the pedal, you'll find that the angle of the foot is very extreme and it can be very tiring to use the pedal when you're sitting too close. So sit a little bit further back. Now, if I start to get too far back like this, one of the problems is that I have to expend a lot of energy because I'm holding my arms way out here in front of me. I want them to be able to hang more naturally. So this kind of far away playing doesn't work too well. And another problem with playing too far away from the keyboard like this, I feel a lot of tension here, but also it means that I don't feel very connected with the instrument I'm playing. The notes are so far away from me that it's hard to sort of feel like what I'm producing here is going directly into the instrument. It's much more, I feel much more connected with the instrument if I'm playing a bit closer here like this. So I would encourage you to, find a comfortable position where you're not leaning, where you don't have to stretch your arms way out, but where you have enough flexibility that you can move your left hand up and down, your right hand up and down the piano like this. Keep in mind, by the way, another element of good posture and piano technique is that you never want to be sliding back and forth on the bench. When you go up to play the high notes, you don't want to be sliding up here and sliding down when you play the low notes. You want to be able to reach everything from one spot at the piano. And actually, this is a reason why I often, instead of using a piano bench, will just play from a normal armless chair. It works perfectly well. I don't need to have lots of space to move around. I can sit on an ordinary chair if the height is correct and reach all the way up and down the piano keyboard. One other final thing to keep in mind with regard to piano posture is you want to stay as relaxed as possible. And one of the places where a lot of people carry extra tension when they play, I see this all the time with beginners, is in the shoulders. Be sure that you don't lift your shoulders when you play and keep them tense. Just when you sit down at the piano, shake everything out. Just be sure everything is completely relaxed. Be sure that you're right over your center of gravity with your hips and waist, so that you don't have to hold your body in a particular position. And really in the shoulders, the arms, everything just completely relaxed before you bring your arms up to the piano keyboard. Is there anything that you'd like to know or anything I've missed? Just let me know in the comments. And I hope this video has been of some help to you with getting started. I'll see you again soon.